Hello and welcome back yet again to another evening or morning or whatever time of day it is for you in Azeroth with Beryl. Like I said last week, this week we're going to go through a dungeon. We're actually probably going to go through two. I just don't know if we're going to do them both today. But since there are two dungeons in the zone that we are currently in, which is the Eastern Kingdoms, I figured, what the heck, let's go ahead and do them. So we are going to jump in with Beryl, and I think just because maybe I'm hoping that this will make me a little bit luckier, this whole doing this as a recording, I think we're going to do the Dead Side of Stratholme. So, if you give me just a minute, we will jump into the game and go to the Dead Side of Stratholme and the back gate. So, give me just a minute and I will join you there. Alright, now, I also think you might have just been seeing a black screen because I am an idiot and I am not good at this. But you know what? You live and you learn. Hopefully you didn't, but I guess I won't find out until I check this out later. But in case you didn't know, where you need to go is the East Wall Gate, and that takes you to the Dead Side of Stratholme. I remember back when I first started playing World of Warcraft, you actually needed a key to get in here, and you could get in from the main dungeon. I'm not sure when exactly they changed it, but I mean, a lot of things have changed in World of Warcraft through the years. And not least of which is I actually kind of know what I'm doing now, even if we are going to be doing this as a cakewalk, because Beryl is way over level for this. Everything's just gonna die when she looks at it, but there is a mountain here that I have never gotten, and if you've never been in this dungeon, it's actually pretty cool. So, we're going to go ahead and head on in to the Dead Side of Stratholme. Now, there's usually a bunch of quests in here. I have done them already because, darn it, I have been trying to get this for a very long time. Also, I just realized I probably should have emptied my bags, but oh well, such is life. Let's do this. You're gonna run through. This dungeon is actually pretty straightforward. It's pretty much just run straight through. It is kind of interesting to go in here and just look around, but this is not one of the dungeons that has a lot of like secrets to it. On the living side of Stratholme, you always want to be sure to go and loot these mailboxes because it spawns a couple of enemies that are tied to a boss. On this side, it's just there, I think, almost for aesthetic. But yeah, like I said, this is just one of those easy little dungeons. Well, not easy back in the day. I actually remember going through this a long, long time ago, back when I first started seriously playing the game, which I started playing the game back in Burning Crusade, but I didn't really get serious about it until partway through Wrath of the Lich King. And when I did that, I was playing with a lot of friends, and we had a guild. And in our guild, I do remember going through this. This was back in the days when you actually needed ammunition for a hunter, which is what my main was at the time, which, let me tell you, there was nothing worse than having to leave a dungeon because you ran out of ammo. It was always pretty bad. And it happened to me more times than I care to admit because, you know, like I said, mainly what we are going through in here is just trying to get the mount, which is on the final boss. And I keep on crossing my fingers and killing everything in the way. I do really love, maybe not so much this dungeon. I really enjoyed the living side of Stratholme a little bit more because it has a few more kind of just unique little things in it. And if you're ever on the other side of the continent doing the culling of Stratholme, where you actually go back into the past and get to see what happened to turn the city this way, that is so much fun, especially because you can go through, and if you don't want to do the dungeon, you don't really have to, but you can just go through and wander around the city. You can wander around the town that's near it, South Haven, I think it is, and see what it was like before it became completely undead. That's the second one down. Boss number 2. Easy way. There we go. They are all dead. That's probably the best part about doing this so far over level. Back in the day, these were pretty intense fights. I know I used to wipe a lot. Oh, hey, treasure chest. That is always... I am not in combat. Stop it. There we go. Since Beryl is a rogue, she can actually loot these chests, which is always nice because sometimes you can find unique items in these chests. I don't think I got anything unique wonderful in that one, but you know, it's all worth a shot. Just gonna go try to get my grenade. That's my third one. You know what? I can't remember, so I'm gonna go do this one. I probably should come and do this dungeon a lot more often, and then maybe I would have a lot more of a chance of actually getting the mount that I would like. Oh, hey, I got the keys to the city, which you used to actually need. I'm probably going to end up having to dump a lot of items if I want to keep playing this, actually having a chance at getting that final boss. Yeah, are chasing me. Oh no! I remember back when I was in my guild getting trapped in here, and I think I died to the bugs and insects back then, which was never fun because you're locked in here until it decides to open up and let you out. There we go. One more boss here. You just have to survive some waves of enemies and get to that final boss, and maybe, just maybe, we'll actually get them out. Not gonna hold my breath, unfortunately. Mostly because holding my breath would make it so I couldn't talk. Not that I can talk all that well right now anyway. I guess that's the other problem with doing this late at night. But you know what? Also the best time to play and upload. Gotta look at all those things. So I'm kind of curious as to if you are watching this when you started playing World of Warcraft, if you did. I know a lot of people are my regular viewers might have never played World of Warcraft, and that is fine. too. It's a very fun game, but it's like so many other games, it is a time sink that not everybody is into doing. It is a lot of fun though. It's a good way to be social, and I've made a lot of good friends. Which, that's sort of the whole point of a massively multiplayer game, to make friends. I think that's probably the best part about playing on the role-playing server now as well. Alright, we need to kill a couple of these abominations, is you make a lot of friends. I say that even though here lately I have not been doing all that good with the whole meeting up with friends and getting on to do the role-playing. I kind of feel a little bit bad about that, but life has been very, very hectic lately, so if any of my RP friends watch this, we will get on and do some gameplay soon. We really will. Alright, we have to kill some of these sentries if we ever get around. But first we have to kill these waves of enemies. Still have 11 slots in our bags, that is always a good thing. I have a bag. And there's our sentry. Once we're done with this, we will see what sort of loot we actually ended up with and kind of go through my bags. But until then, we have one final boss. Now, like I said before, that Noble 87 is a wonderful channel if you want to get all of the lore and everything behind all of this. I wish I could say that I knew it all. Fortunately, I just don't. But I do know that this guy, an undead, he's level 32, and he is in charge of all this, and the mount that I want is his horse that he's riding right there. That is the mount he drops. I think there's only like less than a 1% chance of getting it, but you know what? Let's see how we did. Nope, we got a nice blade and a wand. Oh well. I guess you can't win all the time. But we can also take a look around now that we've defeated all the bosses and just take a moment to appreciate the aesthetic of this dungeon. Suitably creepy. Piles of bones everywhere, just what you would expect from an undead dungeon. And maybe I can even speak one day. And now, the Crusade Captain is very happy that we have cleaned up this dungeon for him. And I think that this portal, if you come through and do this with an actual dungeon group, probably leads you back out of the dungeon. Unfortunately for me, I came in solo, so it didn't work that way for me. So we have to truck it back to the entrance all by ourselves. We're gonna do that, and then we're gonna see just how much money we made off this dungeon, which is the other fun reason to go and do. And if we got any good loot, anything, any cool gear that I haven't gotten already, since unfortunately I didn't get the mount. I am sad about that. But oh well, such is life. I can always come back and try again another time, which hopefully I will remember to do. I think that's always my biggest problem, is a lot of times I forget about these dungeons. I'll get obsessed with them for a while and run them over and over and over, and then I kind of forget about them. And yeah, that's not always the best way to actually get the things that you're going for, is it? anyway, we're gonna go out here and go to one of my many mounts. This one that actually lets you sell things. We'll mount up, we'll sell off all of our stuff that we got in this dungeon and see if we got anything cool. Sometimes you do. A lot of times you don't. But it was worthwhile, and I do thank you so much for joining me as we attempted to get a mount.
Many deals for a friend of the Grummles, like you.
Got a wand. Got a big old sword that I can't use. You got a staff that I can't use. You got a necklace that maybe one of my olds could use. We got... Doesn't look like we actually got too much of anything good anyway on this run. This is actually a really looking hat, and I...
Many farewells.
Hopefully I haven't. I'll have to check that. Hopefully I haven't been muted this whole time, or I really have been the worst YouTuber ever. I don't think I was. I think I just did it when I was trying to put on that gear. So in case that is the case and I don't have to re-record this, all you missed was me babbling about this really pretty red hat that I tried on. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me on this unfortunately failed run through the Dead Side of Stratholme, trying to get Baron Rivendare's mount. We did not get it, but maybe that person that just ran in will. We wish them all of the luck in the world, and hopefully I will see you next week when we do the living side of Stratholme, which will probably take us a little bit longer because there's a lot more dungeon to it. But until then, if you can think of anything that I should have done that might have increased my chances of the mount, or if you have any memories of Stratholme, drop them in the comments down below, and I will see you next week. Have a good one.